Alright folks, how's it going? Adam from Northern Card Gaming. We're a brick and mortar store based in Northern Ireland, and today we're going to be talking about what it's like at the minute to run a store. So just dive straight into it, sort of a bit of a background of what's going on in the world of Pokemon and in general other brands and things. So at the minute, obviously everyone knows that if you collect Pokemon at the minute, it's extremely difficult to get product. Take for example Journey Together. Our store, we got our Journey Together order in and we sold out within a week. We haven't had any restocks, and we're now hearing rumors that there will be a small restock potentially in the middle of May. There's nothing confirmed on that yet, so it's putting us in quite a difficult position. Obviously the second big set recently was Prismatic Evolutions. Prismatic Evolutions, again, there's a couple more products coming out and then it's done, very much it seems. We've had no rumors of restocks, and even if we did have restocks, we don't get the order. The way it works at the minute is distributor tells us, look, you can have this many boxes, would you like them? And you say yes or no. So that's quite a challenging situation to be in. Previously, over many years, it was very much a case of the distributors would have loads of Pokemon in stock. You could go back, you could restock. If you sold out of booster boxes, you just go buy more booster boxes. There are currently absolutely nothing at any of the distributors across the UK and even in Europe. So at the minute, there's a very big challenge in terms of how the stores get stock. So that's another thing that we'll sort of touch on in this video, is what are we doing? How are we getting some stock? How are we able to keep getting booster packs in? What are we doing to get those booster packs? So for full disclosure, there's been a couple of small restocks, but the restocks are tiny. They don't even scratch the sides of the demand at the minute. So we had a bit of a Surging Sparks restock. Our restock was 12 booster boxes. 12 booster boxes has lasted 6 days, I believe, in total. So that's gone. We have now no date for another restock. We're having small restocks of things like Paradox Rift and Temporal Forces coming through. We've had a Scarlet and Violet base set reprint. I suspect that will be those sets done now. I'm hoping that we'll see maybe a Twilight Masquerade restock coming through at some point, and we also need an Obsidian Flames restock at some point, but I do fear that those have already been done as well, and we're pretty much done on those as Pokemon sort of try and gear up their printing for the newer sets that are coming out. Obviously Destined Rivals comes out in a month's time, so there's a lot of focus on it at the minute. Obviously they need to print more Journey Together. There's a lot more demand for Prismatic at the minute. There's now rumors that Paldean Fates is getting a reprint and some of the other side sets are getting a reprint. So there's a lot of demand in terms of how those printers are going to be running and printing stock. So it is a very challenging time to be in this industry. I would actually almost argue that it would be an impossible situation to be in if your business was solely Pokemon, especially if you're only getting into the world of Pokemon and hobby shop. So very quickly coming back as to how our store is getting packs. So at the minute there's a number of options. Number one, if you've been sitting on some stock that was older, you might be able to get stock quite easily. As you can see behind me, we've got a load of fee boxes. So there's a couple of issues with this. The last time stock was readily available in fast quantities, I would probably say, is early 2023. Sort of after the pandemic, things sort of completely slowed down. People didn't seem to want Pokemon as much, so you had a bit of a chance to stock up on fee boxes, stock up on booster boxes. At that point, everyone had very much left during the sort of last boom, which left a lot of overstock essentially in the market. So at that time, you know, stores like ourselves, you're left with the option of, do you take the risk or do you just skip it and just find something else to do? Obviously we've taken a couple of risks here and there, but that can go in your favor, it can go against you, and you just sort of have to make that call. So at the minute, what we're doing a lot of the time is we're now going into our old stock, and we're taking old fee boxes like these, ripping them up, opening them up, taking the packs out, and then selling the packs. This Cleaver box was probably one of the worst sets that they had released in ages. These were discounted, were just to clear. Even distributors didn't want them, they were firing them out. And now it's actually pretty good. It has 2 Fusion Strike in there. There's a Brilliant Stars, which are all very much in-demand products or in-demand sets right now, so they're easy to get rid of. This as well, the Hoopa box at the time wasn't great, but now has an Evolving Skies in it, so you know that alone pays for what this box's RRP used to be. So that's one of the ways that stores are getting their stock. The other way that they're not getting stock is through distributors. So, or not distributors, sorry, wholesalers. Wholesalers buy stock from other stores. They buy it from distributors. If the distributor has too much stock, they'd maybe buy it in a larger volume. They'd sit on it a while, and then they'd add margin onto the top of that, and that's sort of what pushes that price up. There's a couple of wholesalers across the UK, and they're a great way to get stock if you don't have a distributor. Their stock at the minute is the most varied, but the prices are significantly higher. So don't be expecting to get anything cheap, unfortunately. So that there creates a number of issues. Obviously, number one, if you're buying your stock through a wholesaler, your prices are going to be pushed up. That creates a bit of an animosity between your customers and the store. So people are going to come into your store and look at your packs and be like, oh, why are these £5? They're supposed to be $4.30. And there's a high risk of you being called a scalper, whereas it's actually just a case of you can't get it any cheaper. Like, your option is one, stock it at a higher price, or two, have nothing. And unfortunately in business, having nothing isn't an option. So you sort of have to go with the stock it at a higher price. Obviously, that comes with its challenges as well. There's always a case of, say, for example, a product comes back in stock or a restock occurs, and your prices are still high. People can accuse you, of course, of saying, oh, actually, they've restocked this, but now they're just scalping because they got it cheaper from the distributor, and now they're just really chancing their arm a wee bit. So there's always a risk with doing that. And that's a very, very, very difficult thing to navigate at the minute in the hobby industry. In terms of the other areas of the hobby industry at the minute, things like Warhammer are exploding. There's obviously a lot of really, really positive news coming out of that as well in terms of the Amazon TV show. There's a load of big box sets being released. They're now releasing new Primarchs, which is exciting. With the industry as a whole as well, like coming back just very quickly to touch on the Pokemon side of it, we're in a situation for the first time in a long time where whatever you buy is selling, and you're able to sell stuff in larger volumes than you might have before. At the minute, for example, take ourselves, we're now buying triple the Pokemon product that we ever used to buy, and that wouldn't have been possible because one, we wouldn't have had the demand, two, the cash flow would have been much, much harder because obviously we'd be sitting on it for a prolonged period of time, and then three, it's able to just get straight in, straight out the door. You've made your money on it, and that's it. There's no worry, there's no issues. Obviously, we're now running into the situation where how do you care for your local community in terms of making sure that they always have something accessible for them, and also if you have stuff available for them to buy, it stops them then going and shopping elsewhere. And there's a lot on customer retention in that as well. If you're unable to get the stock in for your customers to buy frequently, they're going to go elsewhere. Unfortunately, this is an industry where there isn't any loyalty. People will shop around, they will find somewhere else to buy from, so that there creates a huge problem for stores in terms of customer retention. But in terms of the other areas of the industry as well, like we're seeing Yu-Gi-Oh now coming back in. The Rarity Collection is a very, very, very good product. There's been a massive ban list. We're entering into national season for Yu-Gi-Oh, and Yu-Gi-Oh is very much a playing card game, so people want the individual cards, and we'll maybe do a video on that as well in terms of the different markets and how they're very, very different and how you can go about selling in those different markets. Things, as I said, like Warhammer is in a fantastic place right now. There's the One Piece card game, which is also doing incredible. Like EBO2 is looking like a very, very good set. PRBO2 is also going to be very, very good. They've announced rotation, so that's kind of a cagey topic for a lot of people at the minute. Then there's the likes of Lorcana. Lorcana again is doing very, very well. The Reign of Jafar, which is their next set, is coming out very soon. It's a very, very interesting one in terms of the singles prices compared to the product prices. But that is a much, much, much more deeper conversation to be had. And then coming back to newer games coming out, so we've got the likes of the League of Legends TCG coming out this year. We have the Gundam TCG coming out this year. So there's always new products coming into the market, which helps spice things up. And what sort of happens, we always seem to find, is people, for example, say Pokemon continues to get more and more expensive. People who are into Pokemon, maybe on the fringes, will now start to look at those newer games that are maybe a bit more accessible, and they'll sort of drift off to those games, and then eventually whenever the stock situation becomes a bit more accessible, they'll come back in. And that's just sort of, I suppose, what a store needs to happen. They need to keep the customers in the bigger pool and the bigger pie, I guess, of the card game industry, and let them sort of drift between game and game. And that's why it is at the minute so essential to diversify your business, find other revenue streams. Don't focus entirely on Pokemon. I think what we'll do is we'll definitely do a video in terms of how we would start a business right now in the current climate, in terms of selling Pokemon, selling other card games, where we'd focus. Would it be on singles? Would it be on sealed product? And I think having a good mix of those is very, very important. But if there's anything you'd like to know, just drop us a message down in the comments and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one, guys.